Ciao a tutti amici di Gamesurf, serie italiana di Halifax e Hands-on di Thief, titolo attesissimo di questo autunno e del prossimo anno. Siamo in compagnia con uno degli sviluppatori per chiedergli qualche domanda. So, first of all, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Can you introduce yourself to our users?
Sure. My name is Joe Curry. I'm a producer at IDOS Montreal, and we're working on Thief right now. That's what I guess you're know about, right?
So, Thief.
Yeah.
A big franchise, one of the most that people want to see
Yeah.
in the next month. So, how did you manage the pressure? Because you know, Thief is big franchise.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fans around the world, especially here in Italy. And they want to know how did you manage the pressure during the development of the game? Because you know.
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, every time you work on a project that you really care a lot about, there's always a little bit of pressure. But for us, Thief was very special. It was very special for us to reimagine where would Thief be today? What kind of game would it be today? There's been so many games, so many evolutions of games that were a little bit like Thief, but today we're making a real Thief, you know, and we know that there's fans. We're fans ourselves. A lot of us have very good memories of the other Thieves. So for us, really trying to understand what Thief is about, you know, really understanding what the previous games did, and asking ourselves, okay, if today we had to make a Thief, what are the important pillars that we need to bring forward? What is stealth in today's generation of console? And the pressure to us is something that we welcome, because we hope that it's going to push us to make a game that everybody, including the fans and us, the developers, are proud of. So a little pressure. It's not good to relax too much. You gotta be, you gotta want to do something awesome, and that always comes with a little bit of pressure.
So a lot of our fans talking about the background
Yeah.
of Thief, because the things very important for a game is the story, especially for a game like this, you know. So can you tell me something about the background? How did you build the story behind the game?
Yeah. Well, once we've evolved in technology with a new console, we have an opportunity to tell a deeper story about the character. And for us, reimagining Garrett was really important. What is Garrett's motive? You know, he's an expert thief, he's a master thief, but what is the ultimate purpose? The city that he lives in, that he reviews, is a troubled city. It's a corrupted city. The poor people are really struggling. They need some support, some help. And this help comes from Orion, the character that I showed you in the presentation upstairs, but also how Garrett kind of uses his skills to help the poor kind of alleviate themselves a little bit, and putting a little bit of context into Garrett and a little bit of more meaning that we have an opportunity to show because of our storytelling opportunities with new consoles. Great voiceover, great acting, stuff like that, all brings a little bit more of depth to the characters. I think it's a great opportunity that we want to take on and tell a great story with Garrett.
Thief is a stealth game, and if you saw the past of video games history, the stealth things upgrade, change. So the people have a dream about Thief on different type of stealth, because the previous chapter is more than 10 years ago. So, how did you change the stealth approach into the game?
Well, again, if you look at the technology that we have today, we have a lot of great rendering software for lights, so we can play on lights and shadows a lot more. We can give a more interesting AI that actually works in squads, so two soldiers will work together to find Garrett. And more importantly, we can offer tools to push on the stealth a little bit more. It's easier for Garrett to know when he's safe, what paths he can create. So you remember in the old Thieves, you can extinguish lights with water arrows. You can do that again now, but now you can add systems where you turn on lights, and the guards will adapt to that situation. So when you're in the dark, you can stay in the shadows and actually move about a lot safer and a lot more like a ghost. That's what we want to give Garrett, that feeling that if he's in the shadows, this is where he really loves to be. And allowing the player to change that a little bit in an area that's sometimes maybe lit. You can turn off a light and now you've got a separate path that you can go to. All this stuff with all these rendering softwares that we have, extras that we have on the engine, and lighting stuff that we have on the engine that allows us to kind of dynamically change certain environments, will allow the gameplay to constantly evolve. Like the city that we were showing you today, remember I was telling you there's different paths you can take. You can go up, down, you can open up, vents on the street and go through them and discover new areas. For us, this is all part of evolving stealth. Before it used to be black or the light. Now you can kind of dynamically create that and be in sections where you can observe the situation, observe a certain routine with the guards while still being in the shadows. All this was with the evolution of the tech in the last 10, 12 years, allows us to say, okay, here is what stealth is about. It's about, like calculating, it's about observing, and then it's about navigating and moving around, Now you have a lot more tools to do that, so.
Another important thing, because you're a developer, is the AI of enemies and the NPC. So, can you tell me something about that?
Yeah, sure. That's another part that we have now. With the evolution of the technology today, we have an opportunity to code an AI that's going to react to what you do in the game. So, you can take an object and distract an AI for them to go in a certain space. And if they work in squads, they might say, okay, you know what? You're going to go observe exactly where that noise came from. I'm going to take a look at that pathway here, or that alley, because there's something suspicious going on there. So while they're doing their thing here, Garrett can sneak away. So it's programming AI that is aware of the reality of the environment, of light, of dark, of Garrett's presence, and also adapting to a situation. So being alerted, being suspicious, an AI can be suspicious of your actions, can be suspicious of what's going on in a certain area, and adapt. If there's a reason to be alerted, they'll wake up. They'll be like, oh my God, let's go investigate. And they'll go investigate. They'll look literally for you everywhere, under the table, over the table, top, down, everywhere. And that's building an AI that supports stuff. And for that, we've had a lot of experiences with all the technology that's available for us to build that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's very cool to see AI react to my actions. I can go into one room, do something. Oh, the AI saw me. I'm going to go away. I'm going to run. I'm going to hide here. But no, the AI is smart enough to know that my direction, my last position is around here. So he's going to go and investigate this. And if I need to find a way to escape, I need to find a way to use the shadows to my advantage.
That's cool. We see something about upgrades, about the evolution of the character, supposedly into the story of the game. So can you tell me something about the balance of this thing? Because I see some upgrades for the bow, for example, and other things for example, for wire.
The wire cutter, yeah. So every time, basically, you're going to visit the city at the end of every mission. Between every mission, you have an opportunity to go and visit the city, and districts of the city will open up for you. You'll be able to go get some more loot, and then you can, with that loot, visit the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper has a variety of stuff for you to buy, including tools. So you bought the wire cutter, you can buy the ratchet, which is like a screwdriver that gives you access to other areas, but also different types of arrows, so you saw the the water arrow, the rope arrow, the choke arrow, a whole variety and then you can also upgrade your equipment. And the more you spend time in the hub, in the city, the more you get to collect loot and the more you can buy these things.
But if you have to say this thing, there are a lot of things to do in an open environment, but we can say that is a free roaming game or is a story-driven game, this thing?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both because there is a story. Garrett does have, there is a story to Garrett. We are discovering a character that's got some depth and some values to him. But at the same time, there's a section of the game where Garrett returns home and is in this city that is basically his playground, if you want, He's free to roam, he's free to explore, he's free to take jobs from Basso, and these jobs basically open up interiors for him. He can discover what's going on in these interiors. There's maybe a little story there. And at the same time, jump back out and then at any time upgrade his arsenal and move on to the next mission. So I would say it's a hybrid of both. You have time that you can spend in the city, as much time as you want. You can go in there, loot a couple of things, buy a few arrows and move on, and you can spend more time doing jobs, doing side quests, and kind of discovering the city a little bit more.
Okay. The last question is more technical. Are you planning DLCs or things like that for the future of the game? Or at this point you don't think about this thing?
No, we've actually just announced today a pre-order DLC.
Okay.
You'll be able to, when you pre-order the game, you'll get a bank heist, which is like Thief 2. So it's heavily guarded, you gotta go in, it's a special loot, and that's available when you pre-order the game.
Okay. And the last question, you have the possibility to develop on Xbox One and PS4, the next gen console. So
we are developing on them. The game is coming out on
Yeah.
PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox.
So I want to know, there are differences between PC.
Not Xbox. Xbox 360. Xbox. No.
Yes, correct. Xbox 360. There are differences between PC version and the console, the next gen version of console.
Yeah.
There are differences.
There's, I mean, we really want the experience to be complete and, of high quality, no matter what console and what platform you play it on. Obviously, some more next-gen console will have higher graphics, more detail in some of the textures. But at the end of the day, the experience, the real bare experience, is going to be the same on all the console. We really want a complete experience, no matter what platform you decide to buy it on.
So, thank you very much
My
for your
pleasure.
time.
My
We are
pleasure.
very excited about TIFF.
I'm excited to see what you guys think when it comes out.
Me
Very,
and
very
also
excited.
our users want to know more about the game.
We can't wait to tell you. Really, we can't wait to see what you guys say when you play it.
So, grazie a tutti, thank you very much for your time.
Grazie, my pleasure.
E alla prossima.
Bye.